DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. We're getting things a little done early here. I mean, we're taking like a Thursday 8-game slate, hence the same T-shirts as the earlier pods.
I was just going to say. Much better. All right, guys. Sorry about that. That was embarrassing. You can't know I had the same shirt on. Anyway, I don't know what Jason was talking about. I thought you had like 3 of those U.S. soccer shirts.
I do. I mean, there was a couple. I mean, if you look at my closet, I mean, it's numerous. It's lined up. I mean, it looks like a team apparel shop.
And I had multiple of that shirt too. So
yeah, you got 7 or 8 green polos.
Yeah, with little Hawaiian women dancing on them. Yeah.
Speaking of Hawaiian women, we got the Reds Nationals.
Well, this took a turn.
Reds Nationals here. We got Gio Gonzalez, Brandon Finnegan, 2 lefties on the hill. Washington big favorites here. And looking at these Reds team, I mean, Gio Gonzalez has been kind of up and down this year. I'm not really buying into the Reds offense against him. Obviously, an Adam Duvall at 4.2 is certainly intriguing with his power. I don't mind him. Outside of that, I'm not really a fan of the lefty-lefty matchups for Bruce and Votto there.
Yeah, even Brandon Phillips is okay. But yeah, Duvall's the star of the show there for me on this slate. 4,200, not too bad for him. And just in general, really the only guy you're targeting against Gio, just because we talk about when the Reds are facing lefties, it kind of stunts Bruce and Votto a little bit. Yeah,
it does. And on the national side of things, I mean, Finnegan's been, up and down as well this season. I mean, he's not a guy to just fully target against. And for me, I mean, I think you can definitely look at these guys. I'm not going to be building a core around them, but I do like the right-handed bats here for Nationals, obviously with some home run power like Worth and even Zimmerman or Rendon. I think those guys are definitely playable. Or Ramos if he's in the lineup. I like those guys. You look at Finnegan, I mean, against right-handed bats, going back to last year. Really kind of an average arm. I mean, 303 WOBA allowed, a hard ball rate right around 35%, 1.34 home runs per 9. So those names kind of catch my eye. Harper at 4.9 is a little bit expensive.
Yeah, and I can't pay that price for Bryce Harper, I don't think. He obviously the talent's there. I would just rather, if I'm going that direction, I'd rather just go Daniel Murphy for 1,100 less. But I don't necessarily envision myself using either.
Yeah, I don't either. I think I'm kind of sticking towards the right-handed bats in that lineup.
Yeah.
Indians and Blue Jays here the next one. You got Carlos Carrasco versus R.A. Dickey. I'm not necessarily looking at the Toronto side of things. I mean, obviously they're at price tags that are lower than their usual go. And Carrasco, I mean, an above-average right-handed arm. It's in Rogers Center. As always, I think you can put the Blue Jays in play as far as GPPs. I mean, they always have that blow-up potential as far as offense goes. And when you do get an Encarnacion and a Donaldson right around 4,400, 4,300, it's always going to be intriguing.
Yeah, I think in terms of this matchup, it's kind of a relief because I felt so much pressure to just automatically throw Blue Jays into my lineups the last few days, and now it's like, okay, they're back to being a really, really good offense, but I don't need to force it against a good pitcher here. So obviously, you're looking at Donaldson. Obviously, you're looking at Encarnacion. I mean, Carrera for 28 is okay. But again, I'm not forcing it against Carrasco. I don't think you need to stack this team tonight.
No, I definitely don't think either. I just think the price considered is what you're really looking at here. And I mean, obviously, we're looking at Carrasco, who's been solid. I mean, he doesn't limit really. He limits his damage. He's had a couple outings where he's given up 4 or 5 earned runs. So I think, that kind of puts him in play a little bit. But obviously on a slate like this, they definitely fall low because of the matchup.
Yeah, no, definitely agree there.
And as far as the Indian side of things, I mean, R.A. Dickey on the hill, I mean, obviously he's going to face a red-hot Indians team here in the Rogers Center. And lefties against Dickey, 1.34 home runs per 9, 312 WOBA allowed. I mean, righties have hit him well too, right about that same rate. So obviously, I still think the Indians' bats are very much in play. Always against a knuckleballer, it's something to not get too crazy about. But once again, they come in as a decent offense to target.
Yeah, Napoli. You like that Napoli, Chisenhall, Ramirez grouping there at their prices. Lindor is a little expensive for me. Not a bad play by any means, just a little expensive for me. And I seemingly like Kipnis a lot of nights nowadays. So he's another guy I'm looking at there.
Yeah, 4.3 for him. It's a nice price tag, and I'm with you. I think that Napoli price at 3.6 certainly intriguing. So I think overall you can look at these guys here. I mean, if Rajai Davis back into the lineup, but I do like righties against Dickey there.
A lot of nights. I could not spit that one out the first time.
Tigers and Rays here. Jordan Zimmerman versus Jake Odorizzi. Relatively low total. I mean, I think these offenses certainly have potential, and both of them come at decent price tags. And both these pitchers are kind of remotely the same for me. They don't miss. I mean, Odorizzi misses a little bit more bats than Zimmerman does, but I think you can kind of look at these offenses at mid-tier prices and feel pretty good about them, even though they are two, right-handers that do carry some names.
This game is sneaky weird, like in terms of pricing and the pitchers. I actually kind of like all four corners of this game. I feel like there's potential in both pitching and hitting. Maybe a little less for Odorizzi against that Tigers lineup, but it could really go either way for Zimmerman versus the Rays. So yes, I do like some of those prices, but I could also see him having a pretty decent start for 8,300.
Yeah, I could too. I mean, you look at this Rays offense. I mean, they do have some upside. I mean, obviously the ISO numbers are really strong for them against righties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be at this game, so I'm stacking both sides.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I think it's a must when you go to a baseball game these days. You play DFS, you're going to stack the game that you go to.
Unless you live in Atlanta.
Yeah, then you're taking the opposing pitcher.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's a good rule. I like that rule.
You just got to get some involvement there. I mean,
yeah, you got to get some type of real life sweat.
Because hopefully, when you're drinking $9 beers, you gotta be looking at your GPP line and be like, okay,
there's got to be
off 10 of these.
Yeah, absolutely. There's got to be some motivation to sort of stay involved in the game there.
Yeah, and looking at Odorizzi, I mean, against right-handed bats, I mean, 3.3 WOBA allowed to righties, a 1.62 home runs per 9. So a lot of upside for those right-handed bats, and getting guys like Castellanos up to at 3.9, Cabrera at 4.2. These are kind of cheap guys. I think obviously have some home run upside, really 1 through 6.
Definitely agree there. Not targeting Odorizzi in any format really, but yeah, some of these guys are decently priced. You got to like Victor Martinez at 34, and as you mentioned, the Castellanos and Upton both under 4K as well. So I think you got to like that. And I don't know if I'm going to be stacking them, but I definitely like some of them as one-offs for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you there. And as far as the Rays side of things, I'm much more on the Tigers side than I am the Rays. But obviously, I mean, Logan Forsythe at 3.6, Longoria at 3.7, certainly intriguing. Outside of that, I don't see myself really using too many of these Rays. I mean, you can make a case for Logan Morrison, Dickerson if he's in the lineup. I think those guys are obviously intriguing options from the left side.
Definitely.
So, Cubs and Mets here. This next one, John Lackey versus Steven Matz. As of now, it's Steven Matz.
Right.
Pushed back, from that start with a bones burn in his elbow. So, not too sure about how he's going to pitch, or even if he does end up making the start. I mean, we're still 24 hours out, so we're always looking ahead of time. Matz could be a guy who does get scratched.
Yeah, I think we're tentatively looking at him right now. Obviously, nothing is set in stone, but it seemed like in his last start he wasn't doing so hot, and obviously they've pushed him back a few days. So, not positive signs surrounding a promising pitcher. So I'm probably fading either way. I mean, if you want to get super contrarian, I doubt he's high owned after the last few things, but I wouldn't suggest that, No,
I wouldn't either. And in looking at the Cubs side of things, I mean, Matt's a relatively attractive arm. You're kind of hoping that maybe a Brian Rizzo would be a little bit cheaper, but I think his Zobrist at 4.1's intriguing. I even think that those back end options like a Contreras or an Almora or a Biggs.
Mm-hmm.
Could be intriguing if Matz really isn't that healthy and maybe he
Right.
doesn't last long in that game. So I do think you can take some shots there with that Cubs offense because, I mean, he really didn't look that great. He didn't look like himself, and I think this is a situation that I do think he makes a DL trip out of it.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed, definitely. So just avoid that for now, and potentially make a nice little sort of Cubs mid-range stack there.
Yeah, I think they're in play, and obviously I think still they're going to be relatively low owned in comparison to other names. And on the other side of things, I mean, Lackey's been much more average than late. 12 runs over the last 3 starts there. Not good. These Mets prices are really cheap. Obviously, the Mets bats haven't been great either, but Cespedes at 4K. What are your thoughts on Cespedes?
Not as hot. It was wild because I didn't even have that hot of a take, and then I just came in smoking gun, like shot him out of the door. I don't even know how he did that night. Obviously, I didn't roster him.
He didn't do anything. But
yeah, okay, good.
I think the funny thing, I mean, yeah, it was one of those things where like you barely pulled the pistol out of your draw. Like you just, bam, quick pull.
Yeah, I didn't even question him. I just assumed he was guilty and shot him.
And like, you know,
we're going dangerously close to anyway. So back to Lackey. Yeah, I don't mind him. Again, this Mets lineup's pretty beat up right now, so I'm not afraid of using him, but at the same time, it's not optimal either. So, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at for this slate. He's kind of like the best of mediocre options, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think one of the names is Cespedes. That's the only one that really stands out for me to kind of do some damage at 4K. Outside of that, not really looking at those guys, but a value stack certainly in play if you're kind of paying up, on the hill there. If you want to be really different, if you want,
I'm getting pretty nuanced with the optimizer, and I can almost guarantee Neil Walker is going to be in there, and I'm probably going to be throwing him in a lineup. So I don't mind that, but yeah, beyond him and Cespedes, I'm with you.
Yeah, Marlins and Braves here. This next one, Wei Chen and Mike Foltynewicz on the hill. You gotta love this Marlins offense, the way they're hitting the ball, and really, I like those price tags. I mean, Ozuna deservingly 5.2, but Stanton back down at 4.5 after his hot stretch there. Christian Yelich at 4.3. Love the top of the lineup that Dietrich and Prado kind of give you. 1 through 6 for me, very much in play right here against Foltynewicz.
We were talking about this, and I mean, basically, once Stanton was going to get going, this team was going to take off, and this offense was going to be lethal. And as we've seen over the last few weeks, Stanton sort of snapped out of his slump.
What? I literally just close a tab and come back into the Google Hangouts, and you got your shirt back on.
Oh, were you gone?
I was looking at Fangraphs.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah, and all of a sudden you got a shirt back on.
Yeah. Well,
what a wild change of events.
Giancarlo Stanton is a respectable man, and he deserves my respect when I'm speaking of him. So,
really, because you were trashing him for about all of June.
Didn't you know I'm the president of the fan club? That was constructive criticism. I was just being hard on him.
But you were talking as far as once Stanton got up, this offense was really going to click, and
they're
borderline above average for pretty much all the season. And now it's just starting to feel like, man, they are a really targetable offense, and they're a good offense.
Yeah, for sure. So you definitely like that, as you mentioned, even the guys at the top there. So poor Mikey Foltynewicz there.
Yeah, Foltynewicz 405 low bit of lefties allowed since last year.
No.
2.17 home runs per 9.
Get your Christian Yelich shares.
Yeah, righties 3.42, 1.36 home runs per 9. So either way, I mean, lefties and righters should be teeing off on him tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. And then for Chen, I mean, he's an okay option at his price, I think.
I like Chen a lot.
Nothing really. I mean, nothing. I don't think he's gonna like go out of this world, but I could definitely see 20 DK points, which is awesome for 6'9".
Yeah, I'm loving him tomorrow. I think he's a great option, cash game playable for me, and I'm not looking at the Braves. I mean, you're looking at a ton of lefties in that lineup, and even the right-handed bats aren't anything to scare you off of Chen. So for me, playing lefties against the Braves this year has just been absolute money, and it'll be continue to be that way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Again, they don't really have any formidable right-handers, so that's a big weakness for them.
Yeah, definitely. And Royals and Cardinals here, Chris Young versus Mike Leake. And
wait, Chris Young, baby.
Oh, yeah.
The home runs are coming.
He's in trouble, and you got to like a lot of these lefties.
Yeah.
Brandon Moss, Matt Carpenter up top, and even those right-handed bats like Piscotty and Holiday are going to look to really tee off. And yeah, the home runs, I mean, we saw Chris Young in his last start just get absolutely shelled, and that's what he brings to the table. That's why he's 4,100 on DraftKings.
As an established starter, it's tough to be 4,100. So that's what we're looking at. Top 1 through 4, Piscotty, Holiday, Moss, Carpenter. They're expensive, but they're worth it. I think that's what we're looking at there, especially on this type of slate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, they're expensive, but I'm definitely in agreement that they're worth it. The Royals have a relatively low run total at the moment. I think I might like them a little bit more than what Vegas does against a Mike Leake, who really is average at best. And at those prices of Alex Gordon at 3.2, if Lorenzo Cain's back in the lineup at 3.8, I like him. And I like Whit Merrifield at 3.8. I think that's an intriguing price for him.
We say this every day. It's literally every day that they're underpriced. It's incredible, and I love it. Again, like Alex Gordon for 32 is really solid, and he's obviously just getting into things. But, I mean, even the Alcides Escobars of the world, batting later in the lineup, but I don't mind that. I think we can go at quite a few of these guys in this Royals lineup and feel comfortable.
How many actually Alcides Escobars do you think there are in the world? As far as that name in general.
Over, I'd say Vegas would set the over-under at like 7.5.
Okay, all fair.
In the world?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you cross out a lot of regions with that name, but
I think Russia is a homeland to
Alcides Escobars.
Yeah. Escobar-offs. You got to throw an OV.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So if we're adding that in, I'd say about 30,000.
That's a very big jump.
Yeah. Escobar-offs.
Bay Area game, you got the Giants and A's this next one. Madison Bumgarner versus Oakland. And Bumgarner, I mean, obviously, disappointing start against the Phillies on the road in Oakland. Once again, I mean, he comes in as one of the better options on the night. But, hey,
R.I.P. the A's.
Yeah, but you know what?
Good night.
If you want to get super weird, Danny Valencia and Chris Davis against lefties have always been an option. And Bumgarner, you know what? He's been beat by a couple of guys this year from the right side, and it is possible. And you're getting dirt cheap guys, and you're going to get low ownership. So.
This is, if I were a detective, I would have just taken off my glasses and been like, I see where you're going. I see your plan, and I don't even hate it.
It's not something to get crazy about, but you just look at Valencia crushes lefties. And Bumgarner, once again, I mean, he's going to be.
Yeah. And then when you get into the ownership part of it, he's going to be super high owned. Great. That's a great leverage play, I think, if you're going in a tournament. Obviously, you're not doing that in cash, but that's a great move in a tournament, I think, because one of those guys, I mean, they both have pretty solid splits against lefties. So Valencia or Davis, yeah, that's a pretty solid call.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously, I think out of 10 lineups, you're maybe looking at 1 or 2 at best that you're going to put them in. It's not something you go overboard on, but I do think it's a low-owned contrarian move that, yes, the floor is very low, but you know what? If you want to take a chance at a 3K, 3,200,
and good hitters, it's not like you're just picking random guys like we do with the Braves sometimes when they're 2K. But like these are Valencia's solid, so there's a decent chance he could do something against Bumgarner. So I like that.
Yeah, and those are the only 2 real names that I'm looking at. And on the San Francisco side, not in love with him tonight. I think once again Posey at 4.3 is always in play if you have some cash left over, but. Outside of that, I'm not a big fan of these prices. I think there's a lot better options. They've
been goofing around with the end of that lineup of late, and you kind of throw in those punt plays. If they throw in a Ramiro Pena or something like that for 2K, maybe throw them in if you're looking for some cap. But other than that, yeah, definitely not looking too hard at them.
No, I'm not either. And last game of the night here, you got Baltimore and Seattle. Taiwan Walker versus Chris Tillman. This is a situation where I think you can look at some of these guys as far as the hitters go. And obviously, I mean, two righties that are capable of shutting down offenses, but they're also capable of giving up the long ball too. So you look at Tillman, I mean, against righties, going back to last year, 330 WOBA, 1.52 runs per nine. Walker, on the other hand, I mean, 1.47 home runs per nine to righties. So some of these bats for the Baltimore side, I mean, and Adam Jones at 4.3, Machado and Trumbo, I think they're intriguing home run upside type guys tonight.
I like that. Yes. I'm intrigued by the pricing of Cano and Seager for this matchup. I suppose Chris Tillman's solid, but I like, I mean, Seager at 36 is a pretty solid deal here. So I'm definitely looking at him. I don't think you're looking to stack either of these teams, but I think you can get 2 to 3 players from both of these lineups and feel pretty comfortable in a lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Seager side of things, for me, if you're looking at 3, 4, 5, those are the only options for me on the Mariners. 1 through 6 is more in play for me as far as Baltimore goes. I think they just have a much deeper option against Walker. So I do like this game. I think it's going to be kind of a couple of guys from here and there that I'm going to be picking in some lineups. I'm not going to go crazy overboard just because of the ballparks. And there is a possibility that this game maybe is only 5-3, 6-2 type of game. You know what I mean? So,
right.
You know, I'm not getting crazy, but I do think these options, the big names, are always stand out against these two guys.
And there's power with these guys. So I mean, a Cano, Seager, Trumbo lineup could end up with some strong numbers without this game even being too high scoring.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So that's gonna wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DailyFantasyCafe.com for all the great tools and content.